This winter, my family and I set out on an ambitious journey to travel 500 kilometers by snowmobile from our front door in Magnetawan, Ontario, all the way to our remote cabin in Northern Ontario's Algoma country. But the adventure wasn't easy. Along the way, we dealt with long days, rough trails, changing weather, trailside repairs, and even a medical scare. Through it all, we were driven by one goal: to link our home and our cabin by snowmobile and experience the land between them from a completely different perspective. This is the story of our adventure.
Well, here we go, baby. We are about to jump off on a 16-day trip, the whole family. We got everything loaded onto our 2 toboggans that we're gonna need for this 500-kilometer journey right from our house here in Magnetawan, Ontario, all the way to our remote off-grid cabin in Northern Ontario's Algoma region, which is northwest of Elliott Lake. So we have 500 kilometers. We're gonna do it in 7 days. We're gonna be sleeping in rustic cabins nestled into the backcountry along the way, and winter camping with our hot tent and wood stove. And then we're gonna stay at our cabin for about 8 days on top of that. So we have an epic adventure. Planning that went into this trip was substantial. Tori and I had a custom kid carrier built for Wesley, which we just put on.
There you go. I could fit my whole backpack probably in there. It's perfect.
And we are finally ready to leave. It was -26 this morning, and we have a beautiful day to start riding. And we are going to be cruising on the Ontario Snowmobile Trail system, which we're going to manage to connect through backcountry trails and waterways. Feeling a little nervous bringing the kids out here, but I think it should be an absolute blast, and I can't wait to start moving. There he is. Here we go.
By noon, we were finally on our way. It was still cold, but a beautiful day, and it felt good to be moving. But we had a long way to go, and we're still feeling a little nervous. After riding on our road and crossing a large local lake, we reached a bumpy bush trail. After some time driving slowly over the bumps, it was clear that we wouldn't be reaching our cabin until later in the evening that day.
How's it going so far, guys?
So far, so
I'm
good.
hungry.
Oh.
Hot. Well, big beautiful lake. Rode here on a long, winding, narrow bush trail that actually Tori and I have never ridden before. And after we pass this lake, we're actually heading into a pretty remote area for a good portion of the trip. We're behind schedule, but the last stretch is lake riding, so you can travel much faster. And before too long, we're gonna be at our cabin. We don't know exactly, we've got an idea of where it is. It might take a bit of searching. We don't exactly have a ton of light. Hey, Tor?
Well, it's only 3:30.
Soon, the tight bush trail wove us through the forest, taking us into a remote area with little development.
Which way do we go? That way or that way?
600 to 509 to 510.
600. Okay, Tori's navigating.
We pushed on until we reached the lowering area, where we navigated across a large frozen lake to find our first cabin with relative ease.
Okay, we have here this lovely couple here that is going to rent us their cabin for the night, Rick and Sue. So Rick and Sue are going to rent us a cabin, and we get to stay there. We don't have to set up our tent. Look, Huddy's already right into it. Well, let's go check this place out.
Huddy's already checking it out for us, making sure it's all good.
Here we go. Well, we made it to our first cabin and in pretty good time too, which feels great. We've got a nice fire going in the wood stove, full kitchen, electricity. So we're doing pretty good. Actually, I'm pretty proud of ourselves. Next, we're gonna have a nice meal and just enjoy hanging out in this beautiful spot.
Cozy and warm, we enjoyed a delicious meal prepared by Tori.
Not a very colorful dinner, but whatever.
Oh yeah. Oh.
You have magic powers? Your car has magic powers.
Well, I guess that about calls it a night. We had a delicious little meal here, and then we hung out on the couch a bit. Wesley strummed the guitar. Huddy played a little bit of guitar as well, and we played a little tic-tac-toe here and just kind of hung out as a family for a bit. That was great. Absolutely gorgeous little cabin here. We enjoyed our evening. Anyways, night. Tomorrow's another day.
That night, Tori noticed that Wesley's stomach around his G-tube looked infected. He just finished a cycle of antibiotics because of it, and it had looked fine before we left. Now, we were a little worried it hadn't fully healed.
Well, it is the morning of day 2 of our adventure, and we are snuggled in this beautiful cabin, snow falling outside. We got some bacon and eggs on. I got a coffee going. It's about 8 in the morning, and we're gonna eat and pack up and move on. So what's making this trip possible is actually Airbnb. We booked these cabins on Airbnb. We're gonna be camping out a couple nights at the end, but most of the nights we're staying in these beautiful rustic little spots. And doing a trip like this that has a beautiful destination each night along the way after a day of adventuring through wild areas is something that is just not going to be possible if you're booking typical hotels and motels along the way. So Airbnb makes that possible. And there's also all these great pet-friendly options too. Everywhere we're booking along the way is a waterfront location. There's fishing opportunities close to snowmobile trails and more or less right along our route of travel all the way to our camp. And so sometimes you get to bump into the hosts when you're doing this and have a quick chat, which is nice. And it was nice to see some friendly faces yesterday that could direct us the right way to get into this cabin too. So this is a pretty special thing that we're putting together, and it's all made possible by Airbnb. And the cabin that we're staying in tonight is actually a beautiful A-frame. It's right on the French River. I'm really excited about today. It's going to be extremely beautiful.
After breakfast, the daily chore of packing up, hauling bags to the toboggan, and meticulously loading and strapping everything down for another long day of travel began.
Me and Wesley are gonna go in this box.
Cool, both of you?
Yeah.
Wesley's infection looked worse, though he didn't seem to be in any discomfort yet.
Snug as a bug.
So, while Tori had reception, she took a moment to email his doctor. Soon, Tori and I said goodbye to the cozy cabin and headed towards the French River. The trail took us through a long stretch of bush and across a large, desolate lake. After crossing the lake, we stopped for lunch. A warm meal from the muff pot and hot chocolate.
Look at that. Fire that into you, bud.
I prepared a bunch of meals. I prepared all of our meals before this. You know, some yummy meals. But the problem is, I am about 8 weeks pregnant and in the peak morning sickness. I'm feeling pretty nauseous majority of the time. So while they eat burritos, I'm gonna eat a boiled egg, clementine, and maybe a pepperette. See if I can stomach that.
We tried to shake the worry of Wesley's infection while keeping focused on the trail ahead.
Well, we are taking a little break here at the side of the trail. Wesley's getting some food, Huddy's getting some hot chocolate. We still have, 65 kilometers to go today?
Yeah.
Yeah, so or
We've
more.
done 30, I guess.
Yeah, so we've done 30, so we're about a third of the way there, but the trails are pretty good. Next part, we're gonna be on what's, more or less a road in the summer, so we should be able to go a little bit faster. Wesley's doing good out here, Buns. Don't be so stressed out. Yeah, see? He's doing good.
Everybody?
The route wound under the highway and along a narrow, beautiful stretch of trail. When Tori got reception again, the doctor confirmed Wesley needed another cycle of antibiotics.
Hello, could I just get your fax number for a prescription?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the fax number, are you ready?
Yes.
Luckily, the prescription could be sent to a pharmacy not far from our destination that night.
And this might be a ridiculous question. Do you guys deliver prescriptions?
We do.
Oh, okay.
We'd have to set something up for that, but yeah, we do.
Okay.
Well, Wesley had an abscess in his G-tube and he got a round of antibiotics and it cleared right up, but now it started coming back. So Tori noticed it this morning and was able to talk to his contact at Sick Kids that said, oh yeah, sometimes you need 2 rounds of antibiotics. So we were able to get reception and rendezvous with Sick Kids and a small pharmacy in a town where we're going to be staying close to that can potentially deliver it to our Airbnb.
Crossed the Pickerel River Bridge, followed by a bridge over a branch of the French River, a spot we had paddled under as a family before.
We're here. Now we have to stop here. Stop, and we're home.
You are here.
Right there, bud. How much longer, Tori? Are we going to make it to the drugstore?
I hope so. We have to. So, let's go.
All right. Oh, thanks, Teddy.
Slowly, the forest thinned into farmland and we cut across a road onto a trail that led to Albin, a small town where the pharmacy was located. The pharmacy, however, was along a 2-lane highway that was just bare asphalt and was unsafe to travel with our snowmobiles and toboggans.
Hello, I called earlier in regards to a prescription for an antibiotic for my son, Wesley.
Okay.
We were just trying to figure out how we would get the prescription just because we are snowmobiling and we don't have a vehicle. But we are staying in Albin tonight and we were hoping we could potentially get it delivered.
Oh, no. Our delivery guy already came and gone.
Okay. So we'll have to
Yeah.
figure out how to get up there.
Well, it's looking like we're going to have to drive a ways out of our way on roads to try to get Wesley's medicine, but maybe it'll work out. So hopefully we don't overheat.
But fortunately, just as time was running out, our Airbnb host happened to drive by and recognized it. She gave Tori a ride to the pharmacy while I turned the machines and toboggans around.
Well, that was crazy. Couldn't really film it because it all happened so fast, but the host to the Airbnb cabin we have tonight recognized us and gave Tori a list. We got Wesley's medicine and all as well. So now we're gonna ride the trails, jump on a road. We should be at our cabin in about 10 minutes. Here we go.
Everybody
What are
say
the odds that she's just driving by while
snowmobiling.
we're sitting here waiting, like not while I'm already on the way or after we left, or you know what I mean? Like,
With the medicine in hand, all was well and we were back on track. By the end of the day, we'd traveled 95 kilometers in about 5 hours, which was roughly the average time we needed to travel each day of the trip. That night, Our accommodations weren't a traditional cabin, but a rustic timber A-frame with spectacular views of the French River.
Well, we made it. Bit of a harrowing day in the end. We're looking right out over the French River. A little bit of snow falling and a super cool A-frame here to call our home for the night. Look at this. Plus north.
Amazing.
Well, we're here. We did it. Bit of an adventure today. Had to make a crazy side adventure into town to get medicine for Wesley to fix an infection. Tori really quarterbacked that one amazingly and potentially avoided something that could have been a trip ender. And wow, what an end point to the day. Like, this is gorgeous. This is an A-frame cabin. It's made with just gigantic timbers. It's not a bunch of 2x12s, or it goes way up into the air, full front windows looking out over the French River. We had a gorgeous sunset this evening. Wesley is super happy. Hudson's having a blast. We're gonna get dinner going and hopefully I jump in the hot tub before the evening's over.
We settled in and I enjoyed a moose steak for dinner.
Well, I'm having a moose steak.
And later jumped in the hot tub with Huddy to reflect on the day.
Look,
Good job.
Look how beautiful is it?
Oh wow. Oh my God, that's so beautiful, buddy.
The following day, we would need to push onward and make it all the way to the Sudbury area, ready for whatever challenges the trail would throw at us next.
Well, here we are at the beginning of day 3, and what a nice place this was to chill and recharge. Good morning, Wesley. Good morning.
Waking up in the loft of the A-frame was amazing. You're immediately greeted with a beautiful view. We made time for bacon and eggs, and I enjoyed my coffee while looking out over the French River, relieved that it was clear that Wesley's infection was already improving. As usual, we packed up, and before too long, we said goodbye to the A-frame and we're back on the trail.
Ready for a big day, Wes? Well, we got everything packed up here. We're about to leave the A-frame. Today, I actually adjusted the suspension in the Expedition, which is the sled that Tori's riding. I feel like the toboggan is actually pulling down too much and Tori's not getting enough pressure on her skis. So it's hard for her to turn while she's accelerating, especially in that powerful 850 where when you go, your skis kind of naturally lift off. So I took a minute to do that. I filled all the tanks right full. So we got 2 full tanks here, plus an extra 60 liters of gas. So we are gonna need to refuel, but probably only once on this entire trip, and we'll have an opportunity tonight or tomorrow morning. We got a good ride today, about 95 to 100 kilometers. Huddy's, I don't think he wants to leave the A-frame, and he's having a bit of a meltdown. But yeah, we're gonna pull out of here at probably 11:30, not as early as we wanted to, but we're beating yesterday, so that's good. Hey Angel, can I fix your boots? Okay, Daddy will fix them. Daddy understands how annoying messed up boots are.
The day was snowy and beautiful, but it quickly became clear that progress would be slower than expected.
We're here.
What lake are we on?
Trout Lake. "24 kilometers. What?
We've only gone 24 kilometers today? How is that possible? I guess maybe we're stopping too much. I don't know.
I was like, we're making such great time. We're going so fast. How is that even possible? We've only made it 24 kilometers?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
We haven't been stopping that much.
It's got to be wrong.
It's not. It's doing the math for us.
I'm upset about it.
We gotta stop stopping.
We gotta stop stopping.
We just have to go.
We gotta go.
Traveling in low gear with the heavy loads and making fairly frequent stops to make sure the kids were happy meant we were moving slower than we'd hoped. Lunch was chicken fajitas. At lunchtime, we also went through the daily routine of giving Wesley his medicine.
Gotta give Wesley his antibiotics.
And
Well, that's a bit of a pit stop. We would have liked to have made it further today, but we had to get Wesley's medicine and get some food in us. So this is really cool traveling like this. You know, you travel through remote wilderness areas. We just went through a stretch where there was beautiful, huge, big white and red pines, remote wilderness areas, and then sometimes you're along roads, and even like this morning we went through a small town, and it's just a very interesting and different way to see the country.
Pushing on a long distance, we began nearing Sudbury and started seeing more homes and roads. Our cabin for the night was on Long Lake near Kivy Park, part of Greater Sudbury, but with a cottage country-like feel.
A snowy day in Sudbury.
We rolled in late in the evening after another long day and got settled in.
Place is nice. Okay, well, it is pretty much dark and we're settled in here at this lake. Actually, we're in a residential area in Sudbury that's right on a lake. There's ice fishing huts out there. I wasn't expecting to be sort of in town so much, but that's kind of cool. So we're gonna like order pizza, but yeah, I'm gonna take this opportunity to get some gas.
We needed gas, our only refueling of the entire trip. So after unloading, I put sled dollies on my skidoo skis and rode a short distance to the local gas station to fill our jerry cans. Being in a town that night had its perks. We ordered pizza, watched a movie, and enjoyed a relaxing evening together. Despite another relatively long day of travel, everything had gone pretty smoothly this day. Unfortunately, that wouldn't always be the case in the days to come.
Well, here we go. This is the morning of day 4. We're doing it. Yesterday was a bit of a tipping point on our trip where we sort of started feeling like this is hard. It was getting hard on Huddy, just riding for so long. At one point he said he wanted to go home, but he rallied and next thing you know started having fun again. And it's just such a great example of how doing things like this is just directly teaching him resilience. And then he had a blast when we got to this cabin and everything 180'd and he's ready to go again. And it just goes to show, you know, if you get by those points that are challenging, that are hard, and you use effort to push through, there's more fun things that happen on the other side because of that. Today we're actually going to be driving across beautiful Lake Panache, which flanks the north side of Killarney Provincial Park, so there should be some really pretty country. Then we're going to be traveling into some really wild country again and finishing around Espanola today. So yeah, this is not an easy adventure with the kids or even without the kids. But we're doing it, and yesterday I feel like we really came together and sort of like rallied as a family and worked as a team and pushed through. Yeah, family!
It's really adorable in there.
Feeling regenerated and refreshed and ready to just get out there and give her. So it's going to be another good day.
Give her!
Headed towards the Espanola area, we had another long day ahead. Tori packed up inside and got the kids ready while I handled the machines outside, turning everything around, rehitching the toboggans, and loading gear. I seal the jerry cans in contractor bags before packing them into the toboggan and wrap the rest of our gear separately in a tarp just in case gas leaks.
Well, as usual, packing up took a while, but we are done and ready to roll. Hopefully we can still dodge that rain. It's good that we're getting away a little earlier because it's not supposed to come later in the day. Got Wesley dialed in, got his helmet on, got Huddy out here. Everything's strapped in and we're good to go. Just got to plop north in. We got to start with a little bit of road riding to the trail. Today is going to be another big adventure.
Getting back to the trail turned out to be a bit of a gong show. The road was bare asphalt and the machines pulling heavy toboggans couldn't really turn onto it properly. Cars had to stop on the road and my dog jumped out, but we got back to the trail, which was a lot of effort even though it was just a short distance away. Soon, we crossed a populated stretch of Long Lake and we're back in remote country. The day was beautiful, sunny and just below freezing. Perfect. Though the forecast was calling for rain later in the afternoon, so we hoped to reach our cabin before it arrived. The trail became more challenging with some steep sections. At one point, I rounded a corner and found a very steep hill ahead. I managed to get up it. But when I went back to help Tori, she was stuck near the top.
It's a really steep hill, and when I hit the gas, my skis just fly right up. I can't go any further.
As she tried to reposition and reverse, the weight of the toboggan started pulling her sled backwards and pulled her all the way down the hill until the toboggan jackknifed off the trail and her machine nearly tipped.
It's still under burns. I can't switch it.
Are you hurt? Are you hurt?
No, I'm not hurt.
It's okay.
Okay.
This might have broken. Oh, didn't break. Sweet.
This hill scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, you gotta boom and just fucking get it with speed, you know?
I'm mostly scared because Wesley's on the back though.
Yeah, I know. Next time I'll stop and do it for you. So, bit of an issue. Super steep hill, and we didn't make it up on with one machine, so we're gonna haul this out and try to take a run at it. But this machine's powerful. The skis lift up. You can't steer. It just gets sketchy. So
we righted the machine, detached the toboggan, and hauled it back onto the trail by hand. Then we got the sled unstuck. A couple riders that had passed us during the debacle actually waited at the top of the hill with Hudson and North just in case, which was very nice.
Just my kid and my dog.
Hey?
My kid and my dog are at the top of the hill.
Okay.
So if you rip up the...
Are you good?
Alright, ready? Well, I'm gonna give her. Huddy and North are at the top there.
Tori carried Wesley up the hill while I hooked the toboggan back up and took another run at it.
Well, all is well that ends well, but that got a little sketchy, and to be honest with you, I probably should have foreseen that happening, but Tori thought, well, she'd let the machine roll back a bit. So it was a little bit of a scary moment, but everybody's okay, no issues. Wesley thought the whole thing was funny.
Well, that was terrifying. I hope there's not another hill. I'm gonna knock on this tree.
Later that day, we pulled out onto the massive expanse of Lake Panache and stopped for lunch. I'd always wanted to see this lake, which is along the north side of Killarney Provincial Park, and it did not disappoint.
Pizza! It's a pizza party out here on the lake. How's it going?
A local with the camp on the lake passed us and stopped to chat for a bit while we ate. Ran into some slush as temperatures warmed, but crossing the big lake was an incredible ride, and we made good time too. By evening, it was clear the forecast had been wrong. There was no rain coming at all.
Well, we are quite happy because it looks like we've dodged the rain. So that's good. It's actually freaking beautiful. By far the most beautiful is being out this entire trip. And we're just riding through stands of hemlock trees and just big hills, really beautiful. 9K away, so we're gonna bang it out.
That night, we reached our cabin, which sat right on the water at a lodge. We had views across the lake toward a line of cliffs. Being the off-season, we had the whole place to ourselves, and there was even a hot tub. By that point on the adventure, we felt like we needed a break. So we decided we'd stay there for 2 nights before continuing on.
Good morning. It's actually late in the morning now. We had a good sleep in. We're taking a day off today, and we are on a cabin right on the shores of a beautiful lake south of Espanola. This has got to be one of the most beautiful views here. There's a big set of cliffs over there. Quintessential Northern Ontario lake country view. It's pretty cool. And there are walleye and pike in this lake, so I might head out and do a little bit of fishing. Or I might just chill. There's a hot tub here. I might just do nothing. I fed Wesley his breakfast. I made myself a coffee. And sunny times, ladies and gentlemen.
It was another beautiful day, and Huddy and I took a dip in the hot tub before heading out to do a little ice fishing.
You'll be okay.
You silly Billy.
Well, there have been parts of this trip that have been quite the adventure, and this isn't one of them. Pretty awesome. Tomorrow's gonna be full on though. We're camping on a remote lake, and we have to set up camp and cut wood and get a fire going and set up our whole wall tent and everything for a couple nights. So a lot of work in store, but I think this little bit of a recoup day is a good idea. See how you're saying it's cold? Look, the ice is already frozen. Well, we gave it the old college try. Huddy didn't last too long actually. It was really warm as soon as we got out here. A pretty bad wind picked up, and the ice holes are freezing over real quick, but we're actually sitting on top of a layer of ice above slush, so must have been pretty cold last night because it seems the slush is all frozen, which is going to make the rest of our trip easier. So I'm happy to report that to Tori.
After fishing for a little while, a cold wind picked up and cut our fishing short, so we gathered some firewood and headed back to the cabin. After digging out the fire pit, we got a fire going and toasted up some marshmallows, making s'mores as the afternoon came to an end.
Finally, look, Huddy, the fire's going now.
Yes, tuck it in there. We did how we used to.
Oh yeah.
Before dark, I spent some time organizing gear outside in the toboggans and noticed that one of my plastic totes had smashed on a rough section of trail earlier in the trip.
Good thing I caught it before my fishing stuff was blowing up all over the place.
That evening, we enjoyed a good meal and settled in for a solid night's sleep. The plan was to get an early start the next morning and push on, camping in our canvas tent on a beautiful lake, but as it turns out, Mother Nature had different plans for us. Okay, we are having oatmeal this morning to speed things up. It's a beautiful day. We're sitting around minus 25 here. We have about 75K to ride today, but we got to set up camp tonight. So we got to set up our full hot tent, cut wood and all that, which is a big process. So we're going to be camped in a remote area. There's no options for cabins anywhere within reasonable striking distance outside of about 120 clicks from here. Not long after getting up, we checked the weather forecast, and what we saw was concerning. A stretch of warm weather was coming, with heavy rain to boot.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Oh my
Wednesday.
God, we have a week of 9 days of temperatures above freezing.
Our whole journey relied on good ice conditions, and thawing temperatures can naturally weaken ice, especially near shorelines and around moving water. So Tori and I went over the maps and came up with a new plan.
Maybe we just go straight to our cabin today.
And ditch camping?
Yeah, like maybe we just do a really big push day today.
There's bad weather coming and the weather's warming up too much and our lake might not be safe, so we might have to ride all the way to our cabin tonight. Is that okay?
Instead of camping, we'd push hard and try to ride all the way from the Espanola area to our cabin northeast of Elliott Lake in one day.
It's just like today is really cold, so
Yeah.
like I feel like of any day to go through the Narrows.
Right.
Fortunately, the day itself was beautiful, and the temperature rose to about minus 5. Through the morning, we made good time. We stopped for lunch at a spot with a great view and were really enjoying the ride. But later in the afternoon, things got a little more complicated.
Isn't that delicious?
Oh. This is hitting the spot.
Epic.
Okay.
Well, we are stopped for a little lunch break. Today it's about 1. We're making time, but we're still 65K out of Elliott Lake.
We just went on a beautiful view, and I think today's gonna be an awesome day.
I like it. You ready to get going?
Yes!
We went the wrong way? Well, we just realized that we took a wrong turn coming across a lake. It was really confusing because like the trail went through, I don't know, some sort of trailer park that's closed for the season, like where there's road access in the summer, and I just went the wrong way. Sorry, hon. Well, we took a wrong turn. We saw a sign saying straight to Elliott Lake, but there's multiple ways to get to Elliott Lake. We want to go a totally different way. So right when we thought we were doing great, we have to turn around. Plus, going over like a wooden bridge, the right front carbide on my right ski bent like this, and I don't know if I can bend it back, so I can't turn or go nearly as fast. I'm gonna try to fix it, and we're gonna try to turn around.
Jacking up the sled, I saw the front of one of my carbides had broken clean off and was bent badly. I did my best to straighten it out using my multi-tool, which helped. Then we detached the toboggans and turned everything around to backtrack to where we missed the turn. By then, it was getting pretty late, and we knew any more mistakes would mean we wouldn't reach the cabin before dark.
I checked the carbide on my ski and tried to turn it. I'm not going to be able to ride as fast. Nothing much I can do about that. I straightened it out so it's a bit better, but it's probably going to break off all the way soon.
We rode on and passed through Elliott Lake with the sun getting lower in the sky, but we didn't have time to slow down and we kept pushing.
This is the turn! This way! But here we go, baby. Final push.
I picked up the narrow portage trail leading to our lake and followed it through the woods. When we reached the next lake, the sun was setting, but the ice looked good, not too much slush.
Yeah! Yes, honey. We made it!
Pushed across the lake, through a final portage trail, and soon we were riding along the cliffs and through the narrows of our home lake. We pulled up to the cabin just before dark. It had been a long day, and Huddy was getting pretty tired by the end, but everyone rallied and we pulled it off.
Yeah! We made it to our cabin, guys. Good job, family. We made it. We rode 150K today from south of Espanola all the way through Elliott Lake, all the way through here. We're gonna go get the propane going, get the lights on, get a fire going, get shoveled out, but we are here.
All right. Now we have to do a ton more work
We
to
do.
get inside the cabin.
We do.
After shoveling the porch, turning on the propane, and getting a fire going, the cabin quickly warmed.
Wesley, the fire's starting, buddy.
The kids were happy, and before long, we were all settled in. It felt really good to be home.
Well, I think of all the cabins that we've been to on this journey, that this one is my favorite. Okay, we made it to the cabin. Yeah! Every once in a while, I just get a burst of excitement about that. It's just so cool leaving from home and arriving here. What a cool concept, just to try to snowmobile from our house to our cabin. Unfortunately, yeah, we wanted to spend a week here, but now it's looking like it's going to be about 4 days because we want to get out of here before multiple days of rain. We pulled one of the beds out of the room last night so we could all sleep together in front of the fire, and woke up and made my favorite breakfast, bacon and eggs. Made Tori some eggs and avocado toast and coffee on the percolator, so life is good. Still got work to do today because we need firewood. So I'm gonna go essentially look for wood with the snowmobile and then maybe do some ice fishing tonight. So that's sort of the plan for the day. Yeah, so I got my work cut out for me today.
The night before, Tori had ridden through some slush and gotten stuck in a snowbank in front of the cabin. Overnight, it all froze solid, and I needed to winch her snowmobile out using my machine.
Well, Tori got stuck just at the end of the day yesterday riding into camp. She kind of had to stop there because she didn't know where to pull up, so she did the right thing. However, we didn't get it unstuck last night, and it's just frozen in and her machine won't budge. So I pulled up the Scandic to try to winch it out, and the Scandic's just pulling with the parking brake on. I don't want to do that too much, so I'm gonna have to reposition the Scandic and tie the back off to a tree and try to winch Tori out. But if that doesn't work, I'm gonna be doing a lot of chipping and digging. That's gonna take a long time, and we're running out of firewood, so not really part of the plan, but we gotta get her done.
After that, I swapped out the belt on my Skidoo Scandic.
Sounds like the Scandic needs a new belt. Been pulling a lot of weight on a couple big trips, especially the last one, by far the biggest.
Just a bit of routine maintenance after many hundreds of kilometers of heavy use.
Well, that was a lot of work, but I'm ready to go on a mission. I got to bomb all the way to the boat launch, get some stuff from the truck, and find firewood along the way. Nobody wants to come with me today. Huddy said he wants to have an indoor day, if you can believe that. So I'm going by myself, but maybe it'll go faster.
In the days before the trip, I'd driven my truck and trailer to the closest road access point to our cabin and took the bus home. This way, we could return home via the road system once our adventure was over. I followed the route across a different lake and along some portage trails. I did this partially to make sure this route was passable, as it avoids a stretch of narrows that can develop open water when the weather warms up. And with the warm weather on the horizon, I thought it may be a necessity.
Well, that was good. I successfully made it through the bypass route. Pretty tight trail. Still be doable with a heavy load, but tricky.
At the truck, I picked up our generator and my big chainsaw that I'd left in it. On the way back, I stopped at a friend's property to cut some wood and found some nice standing dead ash trees.
So yeah, decent enough spot, a lot of poplar, some birch. And so the other stuff I'm working with here is some kind of hardwood. I don't know, maybe a black ash or something like that. Ash hardwood has smooth bumps in it, and in the winter when the leaves are off the tree, it can be hard to tell whether it's dead or alive. So the way to tell is the bark is split and falling off of it, and that's kind of what you have to go with. Or it's totally off the tree, but oftentimes when it's totally off the tree, it means that it's punky, and you don't want to take anything big either that's very old, because that's good animal habitat. Anyways, I got a full load here. Hopefully I can get out of here with all this weight.
We were nearly out of firewood at the cabin, as I hadn't been able to find any dry wood to buy locally this winter. Before long, I was back at the cabin with a good load of wood. Good morning. Yesterday, after I got the wood here, we just, ate dinner and just kind of hung out as a family, and all slept on these two beds by the fire again. So it's like a big family slumber party every night here. It's really fun. Today I'm gonna buzz up the rest of that firewood, and I'm gonna go fishing. There's some big freaking lake trout. We've had luck here. Every time we fished lake trout, we've always caught some. So yeah, this is day 8 of our adventure here, and the kids are doing really well. Wesley's thriving. I think Wesley really loves our cabin, and it just feels so good to be at our cabin. We're so comfortable here. It feels like home. There's just something really special about this place for us.
Really hot.
We took things pretty slow in the cabin before I stepped outside and buzzed up the firewood I'd cut the day before. I I stacked some near the porch and Hudson helped haul a few loads inside before the two of us headed out after lunch to do a little fishing.
Well, I got all that wood buzzed up and a bunch brought inside. Huddy was a big help, which was awesome. Me and Huddy are gonna go out in the lake and do some ice fishing, and then Tori's gonna come meet us up in a little bit with Wesley. We're gonna explore a stretch of huge cliffs where the lake gets extremely deep. It's over 400 feet deep here. You ready, Huddy? Huddy's ready.
I wanted to try a new spot, so we traveled a fair ways down the lake shore. Along the way, I noticed a set of large wolf tracks heading in the same direction we were going.
Wolf prints, Huddy. Huge wolf prints. Look at that.
Follow them.
Well, I was just riding along looking for a place to fish, and we saw these wolf prints from a big wolf. They go straight, just like a wolf.
Before long, more tracks joined them.
Right where all the wolf prints are. Look at all of them. These are all wolf prints.
No, I wanted.
North is aware of the wolves. I can just tell by how he's acting.
North picked up the scent right away, and when we stopped, he jumped off the sled for a long, serious sniff. Huddy and I set up to fish. But the action was pretty slow.
Look, it's a beautiful day and we're fishing. It's fun.
Without minnows, it was a little harder to keep Hudson interested.
Oh, look, that warm sun's coming out. Isn't that nice? Okay, you want to move to a new spot?
No, I want to go home.
But this sure was a beautiful spot. I looked off in the distance to see a large ridge line with a beautiful frozen waterfall. Pine forest stretched onto the horizon in every direction, and I knew I had this whole massive portion of the lake all to myself.
Okay. Today we're having a nice short sun going fish. Nice to see all mommy and daddy's mommy and Wesley's gonna come. And sing, we're gonna get this together with us.
Well, the day got very beautiful. Sun came out, wind just died right down, just beautiful cliffs in the distance. But no bites, and we're not marking any fish either. So we're gonna move and check out another spot. Hopefully Tori makes it out here to meet up with us.
We rode a ways to a new spot, and before long, Hudson curled up for a nap on the sled. Tori and Wesley eventually came up to meet up with us.
You did it! You made it!
And we had a bite together on the ice before heading back to the cabin.
Hot.
Later that evening, I tried one more fishing spot before dark, but still came up empty. The next day started cold but beautiful. It was well below freezing in the early morning, but by late morning the temperature climbed to around 5 degrees, and we were all outside soaking up the sun.
Okay, today we are making popsicles. And they have to freeze overnight. So today, they'll get me yummy after night. That's all I had to say.
When we checked the forecast again, the warm weather and rain we'd been worried about didn't look nearly as bad anymore. So instead of leaving the next day, we decided to stay at the cabin for a few more days and wait out the warm weather until it dropped down to being cold again. We did need a few supplies though, and I wanted minnows. So I rode the snowmobile back to the truck and took the truck into town to get groceries.
Okay, here we go. Resupplied. Look at everything strapped down tightly there. And look what I got. Oh yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna get back to camp probably in good time. And yeah, hopefully I'll have time to go fishing by the time I get home.
On the way back across the lake, I saw two snowmobiles in the distance, riding close to what looked like a dog at first. As I got closer, the snowmobiles peeled away and I realized it was actually a young wolf or possibly a coyote running across the ice. My action cam was rolling, but I tried to break out my camcorder to film it. By the time I had it out and ready, the moment had passed though.
I saw what looked like a big coyote running across the lake on my way back. Pulled over to get my camera out, but by the time this camera focused, it was gone.
Still, I can't say I've ever had an experience quite like that. Later that evening, I headed out to fish on my own and tried a new spot. I drilled a couple holes in about 30 feet of water and then moved out deeper to about 45 feet.
Seems like this year, every time I fish, there's been some drastic temperature fluctuation. Like, it was above freezing and then boom, drops to minus 25. Then it's minus 25 for 2 days, then boom, it's 5 degrees Celsius today. Like, no wonder nothing's biting.
I was jigging a large spoon in one hole, while another line was baited with a minnow and sat about 15 feet away. The line was on a spool resting on the dash of my snowmobile, and the line was tethered to the handlebars with an elastic.
So I got my line in at the right depth, elastic to the steering wheel of my Skidoo, and the spool on the dash.
After fishing for a while, the spool suddenly dropped off the dash. When I grabbed the line and gave it a tug, I could feel a solid fish on the other end.
Here we go. We got one. Feels like a pretty good one. On the set line too. Come on, baby. Come on. Yeah! Woo! A beauty! Look at that. All right. That is a hell of a fish. Look at those beauty yellow fins too. That is a sign of a healthy ecosystem because it shows the fish is eating aquatic crustaceans. All right. What a nice fish. This one's a keeper. Yeah, so the spool, I caught it with the elastic setup and the spool on the dashboard of the Skidoo, and all of a sudden the spool just fell off and I tugged on the line and boom, sure enough, there's the laker on. Love it. Well, I think I'm gonna call it. Maybe I get home in time to cook this up for dinner tonight. Got another minnow down, but it's almost dark, so I've done well. Caught a really nice fish, but cool. Tried a new spot. This is the little island where Huddy found pirate treasure this past summer. So I tried off this island. There's some pretty good structure, a big drop off here, and I caught it here at 42 feet.
By the time I got back to the cabin, it was too late to eat the fish for dinner. Huddy was sleeping, but Wesley overwatched the whole process as I filleted out the trout.
Oh, I love it here.
Good morning. It is day 10 of our adventure, and we've been at the cabin now for 4 days. This is our 4th day here. Huddy and I are going to do some fishing. Tori and Wes are probably going to stay back here. Tori, are you thinking about coming with us?
I'm thinking about it.
Tori might come with us, which means we do a little family adventure. I woke up and Huddy demanded that we eat fish for breakfast, which we did. So we ate a hearty breakfast of pan-fried lake trout. Can I have a bite?
We are eating fish today, and it's time to say hooray for fish. Thank you for the scale. This is the fish. We eat it instead of drink it.
Huddy and I had an adventure planned, hoping to fish 3 different lakes for 3 different species of fish that day. Much of the route followed a narrow portage trail through the bush, and even though the Scandic still had a broken scratcher, I took it because it's good on gas and easy to feather the throttle on tight trails. The ride was slow going. The trail went down and back up a steep cut creek valley and then up a steep hill, and the snow was soft from the warmer weather. A few times I had to get off and pull the machine back onto the trail by hand because it wouldn't turn so well. Hudson was a big help, and before long we reached the first lake.
We made it! Nice. Careful, don't drop those in.
We tried for brook trout there and had a bite, but couldn't hook up.
Oh, we got a fish coming in, Huddy. Look. Shh, look. Oh, it just left. It's right here, see?
A squiggly line is?
Yeah, that's me jigging.
The sonar was marking fish, but after more than an hour, we decided to move on.
So, Huddy, what do you think the best plan is, buddy?
I think we could fish for pike and then catch the go where you catch likey.
Where I caught the biggest lakey yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay,
First
so...
we're gonna catch for pike and then we're gonna catch the biggest likey.
Okay, so that means we're gonna leave this lake then?
Yeah. We're gonna catch some pike and we're gonna go where Daddy caught a lakey. So, let's get this together, Wes.
Let's do it.
Next, we tried another lake for pike. Setting up near a little waterfall, Hudson napped for a bit. And not long after he woke up, I finally had a solid bite.
Hello, Bob.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I lost it. Oh, no.
I set the hook and stood up to fight it, but the fish shook free after only a few seconds.
Make sure the minnows are on the nose.
So, I'm a little disappointed because we put in a lot of effort here and I was marking a giant fish, almost guaranteed a pike, and I actually had a bite, a hit, and I set the hook and then I stood up thinking the fish was on and the hook was set and it got off, and I had it on for all of 2 seconds. I felt a strong pull and it just got out. But I think we're probably
Going home?
Well, we're gonna move on and try for lakeys on our lake. We think it's time to go. It's late in the afternoon, but we should be fishing lake trout on our lake at the perfect time. We gotta cut some firewood on the way though. So, ready to go? Let's go.
Eventually, we headed back towards our own lake to try for lake trout again. Along the way, I cleared a tree that had fallen across the trail and took some back for firewood.
How good was that lakey this morning, eh?
We fished the same spot where I'd caught the trout the night before, and right at the end I started getting bites and marking fish. But once more, we couldn't hook up. We come close to catching 3 different species that day and ended up with nothing. But somehow it was still easily one of my favorite days of fishing. Hudson was completely engaged the whole time, learning new things and soaking it all in. When we got back to the cabin, we couldn't wait to tell Tori about all the day's adventures. Day 11. This was the day the rain was supposed to arrive. In the morning, I put the sled covers over the machines, buzzed up some firewood with a chainsaw, and even set a couple fishing lines close to camp, thinking we might pick up a pike. Tori came out and helped split some wood, and as a light drizzle started falling, we decided to check the weather again.
Well, things have changed. There was weather on the horizon and we were going to wait it out and decided to extend our trip here.
So basically tomorrow it's going to be plus 11. It's not going below freezing again until Tuesday.
Plus 40 millimeters of
Plus
rain.
40
Plus
millimeters of
11.
rain.
Oh my God, let's get out of here.
Yeah, like that feels risky to me. It's the shoreline that
And
we're
it's
worried
not
about.
getting cold at night. It was supposed to stay cold at night.
With that kind of warmth, we knew ice conditions in some areas could change quickly. We knew the narrows would likely be unsafe, shorelines near creeks would be sketchy, so we made the call to pivot again and get out what we still could.
Okay, today we're going home. And my mom and dad are worrying about the weather.
We packed up as the drizzle fell.
Kimball!
By the time the dishes were done, propane shut off, shutters closed, and everything loaded, we'd packed the whole place up in about 2 hours. Pretty good timing for us. We would have loved a few more days at the cabin, but we were grateful for the time we did have there.
Well, that's all she wrote. You know, we had to cut our trip a bit short here, unfortunately, but we still got to do a lot of adventuring, just coming together as a team and as a family and completing each day and getting to experience different areas and different cabins along the way was really special, and just getting to spend quality time with the kids. Yesterday, even though Huddy and I never caught anything, I just had such a great day with him. I can just see how good it is for him and just how good it is for Wesley and his development as well. It can be a lot of work for mom and dad, but you know, the times on these family adventures are some of the best, despite the moments where he admittedly might be a smidge stressed out about one thing or another.
Looking back, the whole adventure was a special one for our family. There were challenges along the way, but we worked through them together and kept moving forward. Riding away from our house and eventually pulling up to our own cabin hundreds of kilometers away was something pretty unique and something we won't soon forget.
I think we had the best recorded pack-up time today, and we're gonna get out of here before conditions get sketchy. So here we go, another great family trip in the books.
Winter might be coming to a close in my area this year, but I'm planning on traveling to Labrador in April, where the temperature is still much below freezing. I'm going to be chasing massive brook trout and exploring large sections of interior Labrador. Plus, I'm already planning another big Northern Ontario trip for next year, where I think I could hook into some true giants.